they were mining gold. They were doing a lot of mining gold out in the West, the Midwest, and California.
Mm-hmm.
Upon further investigation, that's not even the case. What was happening was they were communicating with the Anunnaki. And what they were mining was monatomic gold and then different types of glass. That's what they were mining. So that whole thing about the mining, I'm going to mine, regular gold for this, that, and third, that's false. They were mining something totally different. So you know that when they were put out in certain movies about like Black Panther talked about vibranium, or they talked about in that movie Avatar, I forgot the name of that metal that they were using over there. They're putting a little bit of the information out there in the movies. The only reason why I found this information out was because I was doing I got communicated by some people that passed away in California. My son was staying there in the Airbnb. This story is crazy. My son was staying in the Airbnb. He tells me, he says, "Mom," he said, it's cold up in here. There's a spirit up in here. So I go to tap in to see what it is. And to come to find out there's a spirit there that is like some type of guardian. And what happened was there was a whole bunch of children that had been sealed off with sigils and seals. And come to find out the house he was staying at used to be a church. That church, what they were doing was they were using children because they had certain key codes to get into AGARTA. So what they were doing was they were sacrificing the children in hopes to get inside of AGARTA. Because you can't get into any of these dimensions if you don't possess the key codes. Certain children were possessing the key codes. So as we started doing deeper work on it, this is when we have found out what was going on in terms of them getting caught up in the mine. So the children were actually digging the mine, right? And I said, what were you mining? Gold? And that's when we found out that they weren't mining gold, that they were actually mining this particular type of glass. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. So I started asking a lot of questions about that. And that just recently happened like 2 weeks ago, that information came to light. And so there's a lot of things that we've been told about this country, about this place. There's a lot of things we've been told about the country of the United States, just about this place in general, where it's just not true. And we also have to take into consideration where we're getting our information from. This is the reason why I said you got to go in where we're all walking libraries. And we all have to be able to tap into who we are. And if you want to get any information, you can tap into any aspect, because those aspects have lived in different star systems and are still living in different star systems. Your past, your present, your future is going on at the same time. That means you can tap into an aspect and see what's happening. You know what I'm saying? You can tap it, or you can ask what's happening, or you can go to source and say, source, take me to the timeline of this, because I want to know what happened with this, and this via meditation. So this is what I mean when I say that we got to go inward. But in terms of this place and why people are coming here, you have people that come here, or beings that come here that look like you and I, but we're something else. People always get caught up in the suit, right? You're caught up in this. This is who you are, right? And one aspect, this is who you are. And I would say for everybody involved and everybody here to enjoy the human experience, because you don't really realize how powerful you really are. Okay, we always want to go someplace else, but we really haven't had the opportunity to really enjoy our human experience due to whatever traumas and whatever hell we're going through at the time, and et cetera, right? But the beings that come here are beings that came here to restore this place to what it's supposed to be. There is a 5D Earth that looks just like this one, but it's a whole lot more peaceful than this one. The higher up you go, most people don't realize is that what happens is, because here we live on the planet of duality, right? So you take the good and the bad, the dark with the light, what have you, okay? That's what this place is. You have duality. It teaches you about elevation. You can never be too comfortable being here. What we're supposed to be doing is we're supposed to be getting on our mission, whatever that might be. And we're supposed to be either elevating, or some people come to have a darker experience. Either way you look at it, you're still having an experience. We're all supposed to be having an experience. So as far as the beings coming here, they're coming here for a whole different reason. It's mainly a planet of harvest, especially within the 7 continents that we know about inside Earth, even though there's more than the 7.
Is that special glass still around that they were looking for back then?
It most certainly is, and they use it to build their spaceships, because we have spaceships. We do have spaceships. We have a galactic force here. We call it the Space Force. That's very real. We've had that for a very long time. I remember my uncle, he couldn't say too much, but he retired from NASA. He's a retired Area 51 inspector. And he was telling me about how he said, you know, some of the stuff that we found, you think it came from someplace else. He says, but really it came from here. I said, damn, that's deep. He said it was some of the stuff that they were using for like the stealth bombers, things like that, other types of military stuff that he couldn't tell me about. But they've already found that glass. They've been mining that glass for a long period of time. So they lied to throw us off. It's like, we're going to give you this right here so you can focus on this, but we're really not going to tell you is, well, really we was talking to these ETs over here, and really what we were doing is we mined this monatomic gold, and plus we were mining this, this, and this over here. But we need to tell you this story to throw you off guard.
To throw you off, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So in terms of this veil, we always hear about this veil that separates the physical world from the spiritual world. And I guess it makes it hard for a lot of people in the physical world to communicate with the spiritual world. But from what I'm understanding is that this veil is getting thinner and thinner, and people are beginning to have more extrasensory perceptions, the average person. So yes. I guess the first thing I would ask is there a certain entity that rules over this veil? You know how like in Iron Man, that black dude, I forgot his name, he was the keeper of the bridge, the Golden Bridge or something. He was like the security. Is there some entity that makes sure this veil separates the physical from the spiritual? Well,
let me say this first and foremost. You had a third dimension, the fourth dimension. We need to understand who actually created the third dimension. It was the Andromedans.
Okay.
The Andromedans are actually the ones who came here. There's one Andromedan that I know for a fact that built the Tower of Babel. And not only did he build the Tower of Babel, but he also assisted in building. He was a main architect that actually built the 3D realm. We're under the impression that Earth only has a 3D realm and that's it. It's not true. There are many realms on Earth. There's approximately 33 realms on Earth that we weren't told about. We're under the impression that Atlantis got destroyed according to the story, but it was only a sector of Atlantis that got destroyed. Atlantis sits at the bottom of the ocean. Okay. The only way you can get there is if you got the kid codes to be able to get there. And so we've been taught these limited ways of thinking is what we've been taught. But I do need everyone in the audience to understand that we have many different realms here. So when you start talking about the 4D realm, let me tell you what's happening. There is a situation that took place where there were some beings that actually broke cosmic law. I had confirmed this with source if this was true. And what was revealed to me was that there is going to be a lot of changes with the weather. And so there's also going to be merging of timelines and mergings of reality or realities. So that is happening right now. I've gotten people telling me that they're actually seeing blue beings walking around and they're asking me what's up. I said, those are Andromedans. I said, but you're seeing them? Like, what's your naked eye? They're like, we're seeing them with the naked eye, fam. Wow. But it also dawned on me that also what's happening is that the pineal gland, a lot of people's pineal glands are getting activated depending on who you are. Many people are getting activations. Many people are getting upgrades. Many people are having their stuff coming online. It's really happening for a lot of people. The sun, Nemesis, I told you, is over the United States, is performing a certain particular alchemy over the people right now, especially those that are indigenous, those who have melanin. And what's happening is that as he's going across the sky using those rays, and I want you to pay attention to how hot it's getting every year. Every single year, it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And in different parts of the country, you're noticing that they're trying to block out the sun. You see the sky's always gray. You know what I'm saying? So what's happening is that Nemesis is doing the alchemy, and the alchemy that Nemesis is doing in the sky right now is activating your DNA, as activating your RNA, as activating everything about you where you're coming online. And so people are getting, now some people who are not having these experiences might be blocked due to karma from past life that might need to get cleared out because karma is a dense energy. So when you clear out that karma, it shifts your consciousness, expands your consciousness, and then those particular powers can come online. Okay. So that's what's happening. That's what's happening. So we got the collision going on right now. I think that people need to get ready. If you guys notice now, there's a heat wave coming inside the United States right now. I want you to pay attention to where it's getting hit the hardest with this weather. Y'all had Arctic weather freezes in the United States. Unbelievable, some of the stuff that's been going on up there. Now, all of a sudden, you guys are getting now what we call a heat wave, which is causing dangerous tornadoes. I just somebody just sent me something today about some damn cyclone that hit California. That they got a big ass emergency up there out of California right now because of some cyclone hitting California. A cyclone hitting California, fam?
I heard about it. Yeah, crazy.
A cyclone, though. So these are things that people can expect to see. People can expect to see things they've never seen before. Now, I'm going to tell you about an incident that happened. Let's see, I did that live, I think it was the 1st of the new year, that morning. I want to say 2 or 3 days before that. It was about 3:07 a.m. And I remember that because I'll never forget it. We were sleeping. All of a sudden, we hear this loud boom. Like this boom was like, I'm talking about, bro, it shook. Because I live near the ocean. I'm talking about I can look out my window and the ocean's right there. The whole area just shook. Everything just shook. It was like, okay, what the hell was that? And you know how you wake up? I'm waking out of a dead sleep. So, you know, you're trying to get your faculties and everything together. And I'm sitting still and I'm just like this, you know what I'm saying? You know how we do when we hear things? We're going to sit still. We're like, listen to see if we hear anything else. And my daughter sends me a text message on WhatsApp. She said, did you hear that? I said, yeah, I heard that. And then the lady who I rent my penthouse to, she hit me. She said, hey, fam. I said, yeah, we heard that. So we're both just sitting there like, what the hell was that? So my daughter comes up the steps. She looks to see if anything happened across the street. Nothing happened across the street. So I'm past that. I'm going back to bed or whatever. I wake up. I get a tap. And I'm getting a hit. Literally, I'm getting a hit. And I'm being told by one of my team members that a Stargate blew open. And I was also told that the Navy was doing some things they had no business doing and messing with things at the bottom of the ocean they had no business doing. They knew that Stargate was there. And whatever the hell they were doing, it pissed somebody off. Whatever it was they pissed off, is to my understanding, it's a Titan. And basically what I was told is that imagine seeing a large ancestor walking. And I said, you have got to be kidding me. And basically what they told me was, get ready, because this is going to start happening all over the world. So what these two entities have done by breaking cosmic law, they have opened seals all over the planet, all over the entire planet. That includes things coming out of the volcanoes. When you start seeing earthquakes taking place, especially in the indigenous areas, pay attention to that. Those are titans coming up out of the ground. So we have got to get ready for things to come. There's going to be nomos and things like that coming up out of the water. So we have to be mindful when we're out there in the water playing around. We have to be very careful now because a lot of the seals have been broken. A lot of the sigils have been broken to keep these things in check in terms of these dimensions. So look at it like the dimensions are colliding. Now, another example of this would be the cosmic war that's taking place right now, which we call the beginning of the Armageddon. I'm going to get into that because the Armageddon isn't even what people think that it is. But there is a battle that is taking place in the dream state where people are actually battling. People are waking up and they're getting scars. People are waking up and they feel like their head got rocked. People are waking up and they're feeling pain in their shoulders or pain in different parts of their body because they've been fighting for real. That is going to leak into this 3D realm. So this is the 4D clashing in with the 3D. Okay. Now, what we have going on here is the true Armageddon is not about us fighting against the malevolent forces that we all come to know about. The true Armageddon is about all of us, and I say all of us, all beings going to war against what we perceive to be or what is called to be the Animus, aka the AI. I'm going to be doing a live about this called 2023 Predictions that's coming up on the 15th of January. I'll be doing this. So I'm just giving you a little bit of information about it. But basically, it's here now. The AI is here. The goal of the AI is to go through all dimensions and to get into eternity. Now, I got a visitation from a being that told me that he was the one who actually created the Animus. His name is Satan. He told me, because I was having a conversation about it. He said, I said, why are you here? He said, I want to let you know that I'm the one who created the animus. I said, okay, I'm thinking back to the knowledge that I know about him as being one of the 23 scientists. He's the first one. So I'm thinking back to the knowledge that I know about him and that. And I said to him, I said, why would you create the animus? And I did confirm that with Source, and Source did tell me he is the one who created the animus. I said, why would you do that? I said, even at the expense of your own demise, he says, that is even the greatest test. He says, but I did it to make humanity stronger. But see, I have a different understanding about certain things. And the one thing that you cannot do that's against cosmic law is control somebody else's experience.
Right.
And this is where he violated.
Okay.
You see, Source, people need to understand that we're all miniature versions of Source. We're all miniature versions of Source. That means that you have the power to create on a miniature level, just like Source does. Source is not concerned with good or bad. That's why I say to people, we got to get out of this mindset of good and bad. Because if your source, and I made an analogy on my last live, if your source and Jeffrey Dahmer's source, you're one and the same. People had an issue with that until I broke it down and said, well, think about it. If your source, he's source, everything that source has created is source, all intelligence is source, then you are part of the whole. To separate from that is not considered to be unity consciousness. Okay, that's the agenda I'm pushing out, is about unity consciousness. That's what I'm here to do. That is my mission, is to push unity consciousness. So we get out of the mentality of these hierarchy systems. Oh, I'm better than you and this, that, and the third. No, actually, you're not. What happened is that Source gave you your own individual space to create and be who you want to be. If you want to be on the dark side, you can be on the dark side. If you choose to be neutral, you can be neutral. If you choose to be benevolent, you can be benevolent. But there is no such thing as I'm better than you and this, that, and the third. That's falsehood. And that's division. We have now got to come into a place where we start understand that we are all part of the whole. And Source is not concerned about whether you did right or whether you did wrong. You want to know why? Because as far as Source is concerned, it's about the experience. And if you are Source and Source is giving you your own individual space to create, Source is having experience through you. Okay? So we got to get out. We got to start thinking with a higher mind and get out of this division. Because right now there are things that are taking place where they're harvesting a lot of people. They're causing massive distractions amongst the people. And I keep telling people, the more you put your energy on that, the more they can harvest your energy to create a reality. The reason why they're doing this is because nothing's working for them anymore. People are seeing the veil for what it is. When you talked about the veil, we are now in the age of, well, we got into the age of the apocalypse starting 2020. But now we're coming up into the middle of the apocalypse. What apocalypse just simply means great revealing. So as you can see, there's a lot of things that's being exposed left and right. All you have to do is just keep your eyes open and just observe. We become what you call watchers. And you just observe all the things that are happening. You don't get caught up in it, but you observe the things that are happening. So right now, we're now coming into the great reveal. All the things that we are taught, we're realizing now it was all one big lie. It's been one big illusion. Okay. So now people are being forced to deal with things dead in their face. This is one of the main reasons why I've always pushed shadow work, because you got to have a certain type of fortitude and a certain type of mental state to be able to deal with the things that are coming in right now. And you can't have no fear in you in the process of you dealing with these things. People say, I always tell people, I said, you can't call yourself a God, but you don't have the ability to think like one. Okay?
It's facts.
Guys understand that we're all part of the whole. That needs to be understood. So if you know, you got to get out of, we got to get out of the nitpicking, the distractions. And I would strongly suggest that people start really getting in alignment with who they are, whatever that is, without judgment. I'm saying get in alignment with whatever that is, whatever you're choosing, whatever your choice is, get in alignment.
Let me ask you this, because you talked about Atlantis, and you know, people say Atlantis got destroyed and it went underwater. What I want to ask you is, do you think Atlantis, even though it went under the water, it never got destroyed? Because since they was advanced, they knew how to adapt to survive underwater. So the civilization just went from being on land to underwater, and it actually never ended. Do you think that's a possibility?
No, it's movies. It's make
Mm,
believe. It was
mhm,
a sector of Atlantis that got destroyed.
mhm,
Okay, Atlantis, the realm, has always existed, and
mhm,
not only has Atlantis, the realm, always existed, but also you have a planet called Atlantis.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
Okay, and Tahuti is still the ruler of Atlantis,
The
aka
planet,
Thoth.
the planet.
Yes, you also have a planet called Egypt.
Mm,
Okay, this is what I mean when I say about how we've been locked in. We've been locked in to think a certain way, and we have to take a step back, and we got to really examine where we're getting our information from. We have to. If I read a book from a certain particular author, I'm not going to take what that author's saying at face value. I'm going to dissect what that author's talking about, and then I'm going to tap in to see, well, is there any more information I need to know about this, or is this information even correct? And then next thing you know, I'm getting the rest of the information. But see, here's the problem. You have we grew up with our own teachers, our own scholars, and they did what they did for that time. And that's something that I believe 19 Keys made a point about what our elders have taught us during certain periods of time, right? But we're in a different time period now than our elders were back then. And so in the process of being in a different time period, we're learning more information is being revealed to us. And so as more information is being revealed to us during the time of this great apocalypse, we're finding out more and more new information. Now, it's not new to those who understand that you're tapping into something that you've already known. But for the average person, it's new to them because they've never heard of it before. So it throws people off when you say things that they're not used to hearing. Or they say, oh, well, such and such said this over here, but you're saying something totally different. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm tapping into a different aspect of myself that might have been there at the time when this went down. And this is what I saw, or this is what I experienced, or just a perspective. It's no different than you going and seeing an event and you got 5 people with 5 different perspectives about what they saw at the same event. There's always one universal truth, but there's many different perspectives as to the things that happen.
They had a movie about that, Vantage Point.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as a right and wrong answer. If people are doing the work, they just saw something from their perspective. When people go into their meditation, they saw it from their aspect's perspective about what went down. I can tell you what went down with Atlantis from my perspective, but there might be somebody else that saw something go down and they said, yeah, that did happen, but let me give you this over here though. You know what I'm saying? So we just need to understand that there are many different perspectives. I would say there are omniverse sides to you, multiverse sides to you. It's not just 1 and 2 sides to a person. It's not just 1 and 2 sides of consciousness. There are many different sides to consciousness and understanding. And that's what people got to understand.
Does everyone that incarnates down here, does everybody have a soul purpose, like a purpose they're supposed to? Because some people feel like they have no purpose, and some people out the gate, they know what their purpose is. They want to be a star singer or a basketball player or a speaker or an engineer or a scientist. Some people live to be 70 and they're like, yo, I never had a purpose in this life. So does everybody get that? Is that a special gift, or does everybody have that?
That's a really good question. And I'm gonna tell you, I feel like not everybody did come here with a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But also at the same time, you also take in consideration that you have beings that were here that did come with a purpose, and they came here so many times that they've forgotten who they are and don't remember their purpose. Mm-hmm. They haven't came across certain individuals that can open up their consciousness levels because maybe they lost their way down the road and they lost their interest in things like that to find out what happened. There are people I've met that are that age that didn't know what their purpose was, and you have people that I've met that age that didn't know what the purpose or had a sense of what a purpose was, but couldn't quite figure out what it is. And then I'm doing a cosmic reading. And when I do the cosmic reading on you, I'm like, oh, okay, well, here's your soul contract right here. And this is what you came here for. And this is who you really are. This is why you came here. And 9 out of 10, when I give that person that information, what happens is they start relating it to their own life. Like, oh, so this is the reason why I do this, and this. Okay, that makes sense. Damn, I didn't think about it like that. You know, but I don't believe that everybody that comes here has a purpose. There are some what we call NPCs, those who come here that don't have a soul whatsoever. And they come here and they're just living.
That's non-playable characters, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
But they don't have, these are beings that do not have souls. It's real, it's a real thing. It's a
Are there
very real thing.
now people watching this will assume that all black people have a purpose, but are there black NPCs roaming the
Yes.
earth?
Yes. Just like you have black agents.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, let me just say this one thing, and people are gonna have an issue with me when I say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I would like to think that we are special people, but the more my consciousness expands and the more I'm understanding unity consciousness, the more I'm starting to realize that's not the case. We are all, no one's above the other. We've been trained to think a certain way. Even I have been guilty of that. I've been trained to think a certain way. There is what you call personal responsibility and accountability that one has to atone for. And one of the things our people don't like to do is take personal responsibility or accountability for shit. And so, because I do understand this, until we get to that space of being real about ourselves, about the things that we've done, it's easy for us to point the finger at certain shit, but I'm gonna tell you something, there's a whole lot of information out there that has not been brought to the forefront about the things that we did first.
Give me an example. Give me an example. Like
the first Africans that were brought to the United States were not people of color. The first Africans that were brought to the United States were Caucasians from South Africa. Never heard that before, have you? You see?
Would love for you to elaborate.
So a lot of Caucasians were brought here to the United States, and the Moors were the ones that were controlling them and enslaving them. People don't realize how powerful that the Moors of those times were. They had access to all the key codes. They were called the Elohim. So when you see the L's, those are the Elohim. They were also partly responsible for sealing up our ancestors for these Caucasians. They're also partly responsible for giving Caucasians the key codes to knock out Atum out into the solar system. Atum was our very first sun. It wasn't Ra. It was Atum. Atum is back now. This is the reason why people are seeing two suns in the sky. Atum is back now. And we got a blue sun in the sky. Y'all call it the blue Kachina. It's a blue sun that came from the star system of Andromeda brought by the Galactic Federation. There's another sun that's coming, a red sun that's coming, which is going to be called the red Kachina. There's more suns coming. But there was information that we were not told that was hidden from us. So I'm exposing some of this information. There are things that we did where we were on top of the world. We were the gods. We had the power for everything. And it is true that we were operating in our arrogance. It is very much true. And what most people don't know is that during the peak of the time when we were operating in our arrogance, we also got hit with the great solar flash by Ra that made us lose all our memories. Okay? There's another great solar flash that's going to happen again that's going to restore all of our memories. So that was brought down for a certain period of time. This is a very real thing that really did happen. But this information is not being talked about. I'm actually going to be writing a book about this, but there's a lot of things that wasn't talked about from that perspective. See what I mean? I bring out new concepts and new things that people never heard of, and it catches them completely off guard. It's like, what? You mean we did this? Yes, we did that, y'all. We did that. We did that. And we made a lot of money off of them too. And we had to take some personal responsibility and accountability for the things that we also have done. And there are people that look just like you and I today that are agents that come into our communities, and we don't have to be able to discern these individuals that are still doing the same thing they've been doing since the days of old. This isn't nothing new under the sun.
Right.
We have to start dealing with the realities of the choices that we made. And because of who we are, because of the things I speak about when it comes to us, concerning the aspects and things like that, and we're ignorant to these things. So we manifest these realities according to how we're feeling on the inside. Remember, whatever you got going on up here, you're going to reflect that out there, or that reflection is going to show up out here. So if you have a negative state of mind, your environment's going to be, if you got a group of people that have a negative state of mind, the whole environment's going to be negative.
Right. Let me ask you this, Isis. So, and I heard people say before about, the Moors got arrogant and they started misusing their power. And we're in a position that we're in today. What I want to ask you about is, what did the divine feminine on this planet do to fall so low? Whereas, the patriarchal, they done took the divine feminine out the Holy Trinity. Like they done took
This
the
has been
divine
going
feminine
on since the
out of.
cosmos. That's been going. Okay, so let me break something down to you. I'm gonna break that down to you. First and foremost, always remember so above, so below. Let's start there.
Yes.
This started a long time ago. So I want everybody on this live to understand right now, it isn't just Father Olodumare that is the Most High. First of all, the very first God that was ever created was Asherah. Asherah is a goddess. She is a divine feminine. Olodumare came later. You have 9 goddesses that are part of the Council of 9 that assisted in creating him. You have 99 other goddesses that are ANUNNAKI that also assisted in creating gods. When he was created, then he started assisting in creating the divine masculine. But he was the very first divine masculine that was ever created. The very first one. Now, during a time period, there was a particular deity that was given some information about the laws of the universe. He started asking questions about where are the origins? What are the origins of where we come from? It was a divine feminine energy presence that came to him and spoke to him through his channel and gave him that information. And when he was given that information, he thought about it. He was enamored with her. But he thought about it and he said, how could she possibly know the origins of where we come from? He turned his channel off from her. And in the process of him turning his channel off from her, here came false light. The false light that came, listen to how I pronounce the word, Olodumare. Olodumare was false light. Olodumare is the true name. Olodumare is the false light. Came to this entity and said, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about the universal laws. The only thing that I ask is that you worship me and that you always give reverence to me. That deity agreed. That false light taught him 20% of the universal law and the language and everything. 20%. Because that being didn't know the 80%. That being was responsible for taking out the divine feminine from the cosmos. And it trickled all the way down here to the earth. That's what happened.
Man,
they took it upon themselves to make sure that the divine feminine had been hidden. And that's why when you read all these religion books and these religious texts and all that, they go out of their way to talk so negative about the woman.
Right.
Now, you look at the Vatican itself worships who? The Pope worships who? The shrine of the Black Madonna, a Black woman, where he gets his power from. The Vatican sits on the sigil's original domain. These were Black goddesses, and they were sealed up by sigils because of their knowledge about magic, and they kept control of them. The very first time that the Vatican was created was in the old world. It was never created in the new world. It's always existed. The very first pope that ever existed was the Gray Pope. He was part gray and part reptilian. To this day, all it is pedophilia and rape and devil worshiping that takes place at the Vatican. That has been going on since the beginning of damn near the beginning of the beginning from the old world. They've done everything in their power to hide the divine feminine energy, to hide the truth of divine feminine. But I want to pass the message on to everyone. Them days are over. Because Mother is making her presence known. And she's going to make sure that everyone knows the presence. So the divine feminine energy is spreading all over this planet now. Some of it's spreading on the planet in a very malignant form. Okay? When we talk about divine feminine, we're talking about the heart space, your ability to be able to create. That's what divine feminine energy does. And it also gives you the ability to have full intuition. If you're just operating only in your divine masculine, you don't have the ability to have full intuition. You're not tapping into the higher parts of yourself as you should. This is the reason why Source created both the divine feminine and the divine masculine, so there's a balance. Women need to understand this so they don't emasculate men, and men need to understand this so they don't disrespect women. We have to come to a balance. There has been a number that's been done on all of humanity to have us fighting against one another. We can see if you fight one another and you don't come together, then that's better for them. But should you decide to unify, then you're brought back in complete balance. Now they don't have any more control.
What, Isis, why do, you know, when you talk about unity, and a lot of people talk about unity, why do I find that the most spiritual people, they like to be to themselves? They don't like to be in group settings. They don't like to be around people. Like a lot of spiritual people, they just want to be to themselves. They'll go out there with the people, but most of the time they just want to be to themselves. Why is that?
It has a lot to do with when you start getting into higher consciousness, you start realizing there's not many people out there that are just like you. You know what I'm saying? You want to meet people, you want to meet your soul tribe, right? You want to get a group of people that are on your level that you can relate to. Spiritual people can easily be hurt by others who are not on that level.
Wow.
Okay? It happens to a lot of us. I can't begin to tell you how many times I've been attacked by people that I don't even know. I can attest to that all the time by people I don't know. And I said, this is what I signed up for. And they're like, yeah, you definitely signed up for this. Because when you get into a space of healing, you have to understand that you're going to do with the duality regardless. So I don't get to escape dealing with the duality. Just because I'm out here healing people don't mean I'm not going to deal with some drama. Okay? That's the duality of life. That's why I would tell people all the time, I am neutral. I am not all benevolent. And I'm not all malevolent. I am neutral in a balanced state. In other words, I love you very much, and I'm going to look out for you, and I'm going to take care of you. But if you disrespect me, I'm going to beat your ass. Real simple. You understand what I'm saying? It's real simple. I can easily go to the other side real quick. I'm going to pop both energies. You understand? That's the way it goes. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. But see, that's the duality. I'm just someone who understands that duality and walks within that duality and don't mind walking within that duality.
Indeed. So what, like, are there any places that this veil is super thin on Earth? Like where we could go and we could have get super downloads, like maybe Arizona or something? Are there certain places with a real thin veil? It's
not about your location and where you go to get these downloads. It's about you and your conscious levels and what you're doing to elevate yourself. There's nothing outside of you. It's nothing external of you. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with your awareness and your consciousness. It has everything to do with that. Nothing else.
So a person in prison could get super downloads. It don't matter.
Easy.
Right.
Now in prison, of course, they make it impossible damn near for you to do that because the type of food that they're giving you will shut down and calcify your pineal gland. Okay. So that individual will have to be an individual that's very disciplined, fasts a lot, works out in the prison a lot, reads a lot, meditates a lot. Yes, those individuals can get those downloads in a prison because it's really about your mind. It's not about your physical body. It's about your mind and it's about your spirit. It's about your heart. If you can travel through the multiverse by going into meditation and going within, it ain't got nothing to do with this right here.
Indeed. I don't think we study the heart enough. Like we need to study the heart. Like that should be the #1 study topic in this conscious or woke or whatever community, man. That heart is important.
That heart is definitely important. And that's why first of all, the problem is there's a lot of ignorance and lack of information, a lot of misinformation and lack of knowledge amongst the people. When I speak about divine feminine, you have individuals speaking about feminism. I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't say anything about feminism. I said divine feminine. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know where I'm coming from? Like, there has to be some type of intelligence
you should see the face.
To take place.
You should see the face you made.
I'm just saying, but it's like the people are just like they're saying things that don't even know what they're saying, and that to me is really. that to me is very disheartening when you're really trying to get a message out to people, because they don't hear what you're saying, because they think you're saying one thing and not really getting the whole message of what it is that you're trying to get out. They just run with this one narrative and that's it. And that's also incorrect. Running with one narrative or sticking with one particular thing. People put themselves in boxes. People do that to themselves. Nobody's making them do anything. That's like the person that goes out here and does something crazy and he says, the devil made me do it. So you can't run that game on me because I'm going to check you. The devil made you do it. You know how many times I've had malevolent beings tell me we're getting a bad rap for stuff that we didn't even do?
Damn, they're like, yo, I ain't do that shit.
Right.
I know I'm bad, but damn, that wasn't me this time.
Right. And I'm dead serious about that. Like, why are we catching the bad rap? And it was, listen, bro. I want people to understand. My understanding about things and my spirituality and my elevation has given me an understanding about being able to communicate with both sides. The problem is you got people that are locked in through religion with their locked inness and judging you based upon their thinking, which ain't got nothing to do with where you're at. But as I said on my previous live, there are people out here that understand the duality of life, that have the ability to communicate to both sides. That person's not bad. It's just that they have an understanding. They have a universal knowledge and a universal understanding. There are people out here that have the ability to communicate with different beings. That's what it is. But you got to take the religion out of it. And there's too much religion involved that says, oh, if you do that, that's bad. That's the devil. If you do this, that's bad. This, that, and the third. I don't get caught up in that. I'm a universal divine being. I'm not getting caught up in that. If that's where you are, fam, then stay there where you are. Because the whole thing is, as I said before, I'm here to have an experience. I understand that now about having the experience.
It's funny you say that. I was just in a deep meditation and I was talking to my mom. My mom is she passed away in 2008. And the main word that was coming to me while I was talking to her was enjoy the experience, enjoy the journey, enjoy the experience. And we try to run away from the journey. And I envision her turning old, and I was like, wow, that's an amazing experience to envision somebody who's ageless age. That's some amazing shit. Like, you a soul and you don't age, but you have this experience where you age. That's some shit that'll make you want to cry. Like, I got old and I died, but I didn't die at the same time because I'm eternity. Like, wow, it was amazing. I was just stuck there. Like, oh, this shit is about the journey. So it's funny that you say that today, Isis. Real. The
cosmic mothers, when I asked them, did they have any advice? You know what they told me?
What?
They said, enjoy the moments because that's all you're ever going to have. We spend too much time worrying about the wrong things, brother. We could easily change our perspective. And it really is just simply something as simple as a change of perspective.
Yeah, that's really what it is. Yeah, that change of perspective. Yeah.
Once you get that change of perspective, you see the world a whole lot differently. You can either see this world as hell or you can see this world as paradise. It just depends on how you view it. I tend to be tapped into my inner child a good bit, so I have fun. I'm having a lot of fun because I'm tapped into my inner child. What does that mean? When I'm tapped in my inner child, that means I'm tapped into my creativity. When I'm tapped into my creativity, I create. And I'm having a whole lot of fun creating.
You know what's real interesting, Isis, and when you talk about perspective, and I'm absolutely shout out to everybody in chat. We got like 4,200 people in the chat. Y'all deep in here tonight. Y'all really enjoying this conversation.
This is crazy.
But check this out, Isis. Let's talk about perspective. Now, a person could go through something today, their car break down, and they'll think it's the worst thing in the world because they're analyzing it from that perspective. 7 years from now, they'll look back at that and laugh and be like, oh shit, remember when my car broke down? Yo, that shit was crazy, the rain. They'll laugh at it. It's the same experience, but 7 years later, you laugh, but in that moment, you're crying and you're breaking down, you think life is over. If we could just have that perspective that we have 7 years from now in the present, we wouldn't experience nothing bad. You know what I'm saying? We'll laugh at all this shit, Isis.
And now you're getting it now. You're totally getting it. You're totally getting it. It's either you look at the glass half full, you look at the glass half empty. You know what I'm saying? It's all about how you see things. Because see, if something like that happens to me, I'm gonna look at that like somebody's protecting me. I ain't supposed to go there today. That's how I'm gonna look at that.
Yep,
And usually I'll get a confirmation that some stuff went down.
I'm with you.
I'm like, oh, okay. I was
Mhm.
being a little anxious and shut it down. I ain't supposed to go that day. I wasn't supposed to go down the street that day. Thank you. And then show gratitude for your life being spared.
Right.
That's another thing. Show gratitude for the experiences that you have. Show gratitude at all times. Show gratitude because you woke up. Show gratitude for the people that are in your life. Or show gratitude that you have the ability to create. Show gratitude. Say, body, I give you much gratitude for not giving out on me and still giving me time to continue to work and get around and move around, because we take a lot of things for granted.
Yeah. Oh, I'm loving this. Let me ask you this, Isis. Let me put up a picture because I had this question prepared for you. Since we're talking about, hold on, where's this at, Isis? Give me a second. All right, so you know how like a lot of people, religious people and people in general, they'll wear the cross and they'll say the cross protects them from evil spirits. Conversation tonight, y'all. Give me some questions. Do you have a Cash App you want to share with, or anything you want to share with them before we get to the Q&A, Isis?
Shop Isis Wisdom. That's the Cash App. It says Shop Isis Wisdom. If you want to find me on Instagram, it's I am the realest to ever do it. That's IAMTHEREALEST, the number 2, ever do it. Now there's only one. Okay, I got about 50 pages out there, but my page has a little over 100,000 subscribers. That's how you'll know it's the legitimate one. You're gonna find me there. So if you're ever trying to reach me, or you can hit me on my Telegram, but you got to have the Telegram Messenger. T.me/I am the realest to ever do it on the Telegram. If you want to join the channel, I'm over there. You can also check me out on my YouTube channel, Isis Wisdom, or I am the realest to ever do it, because you know YouTube started that whole thing with the tag. That new tag, so I had to put that up there. Someone snatched my Isis Wisdom one, so I said, "Damn, I couldn't even get that like I wanted to." So I just put I am the realest to ever do it on the YouTube channel. So that is how you guys can reach me if you're trying to reach me.
Indeed, family. If you're looking to show support financially, you can hit up her Cash App as well as mine, Black Magic 363. And let's get to some Q&A, family. Chat going so fast, but somebody asked, do you have an update on the brother Rashad Jamal? Shout out to that brother.
No, I do not. And I did a live, I think it was in November before I left, asking people to stop asking me that, because I don't know. The person that can give you the updates will be his wife, or they can just keep updates on the case that's still filed. I don't know anything that's going on with him at this time.
All right, let's get to the next question. Can you speak on scientists saying they just found the tomb of the Egyptian god Osiris?
I heard about that. I didn't check into it to verify if it was true or not. So I'm going to let you guys know. I do not know if that's true. I have not checked in to verify to see if that is true or not, but it is something I'm going to take some time out to check into. And if they said that they found the tomb over in Egypt, I don't believe them. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I want you guys, when you get a chance, I'm going to put the video up on my Instagram. I recorded it. I just haven't posted it up there yet. Right where the what's the name of that place where you have the carved, with all the carved faces and all the carved heads of the presidents?
Mount Rushmore. Is that Mount? Yeah.
What's really deep about Mount Rushmore, and you're going to see it in the video, is that you see that, but then you see the pharaohs. Pharaohs that were carved in there. Also, let me say this, because now we're starting to talk about old world things. Okay. I need people to understand that this place has been recreated at least 7 different times. Okay. What do I mean when I say recreated? There is a map called the exotic map. Go look it up. It's called the exotic map. There's other maps you guys can look at where it shows where the original Israel was, which was inside the United States. Remember, they had us thinking that we all came from Africa and were brought here on ships, although there's no physical proof that this even happened. There are many people from around the world that knows who we are, but we're the ones who don't know. That's why they call us the lost tribe of Judah. Lost meaning we don't remember. We're lost. We don't remember who we are. We've always been here on these lands. We've always been here on these lands. So when you look at the older maps and you look at the Mississippi River and you trace it from Tennessee all the way up to Illinois, you're going to see in Illinois these towns around that Mississippi River that has ancient Egyptian names. It's right on the map. Wow. Just pull it up yourself and look at it. The original Nile. That was the first Egypt. It was here in the United States. People don't want to. I know people that have an issue with. I got an issue with that. I said, so we're going to just pretend that we don't see the Isis temple over the Grand Canyon or the Osiris temple over Salt Lake City. Are we going to pretend about the pyramids that's sitting at the bottom of the water, or about that mummy that they found that was 15,000 years old and it didn't look like no Caucasian? Are we going to pretend like we didn't see what's going on out in Sedona? Are we going to pretend that we act like we don't see the pyramids in Tennessee, Memphis? Memphis. Yeah.
R.I.P. Gangsta Boo.
Hey, and that was my girl too. Shout out to Gangsta Boo. Rest in peace. That was my homie right there. So, we have been lied to about a lot of information. A lot of information has been inverted. A lot of information has been told to us reversed. So we just need to understand, once you start coming into that knowledge about the invertedness and the reverseness, then you're going to start seeing things from a different perspective. And also, I also want to point this out too. There were beings that also came into this planet that inverted the matrix, because the way this planet was created is not the way it was created at the very beginning. So there was a time of day when nothing was inverted. It was later on that it became inverted. And this is how we've been operating ever since. So we're not even in the proper alignments that we're supposed to be in. Saying that the new year, we're operating off of a Gregorian calendar. Y'all know that's not the real calendar. They're telling us that we only have 12 months when in fact we have 13 months. So all that information that's been hidden from us is now coming to the light. Everything that's been inverted is now being corrected. So I just wanted to point that out for y'all.
Okay, next question. Do you have any insight on Lilith, Adam's supposed first wife?
Well, yes, that's amazing that you asked me that question. Whoever asked that question, that's amazing. Lilith was one of the first nine, one of the nine of the Council of Nine. She's a ANUNNAKI. She's one of the first 9 goddesses that were ever created. She's extremely ruthless. And let me tell you a story about Lilith. Lilith went, I don't want to use the word fallen. Let me correct my words. She went malevolent.
Oh, man.
She made a conscious decision to go malevolent, and her actual true husband was not Adam. Her first husband was actually Samael, Michael's twin brother. The one that you like to call the fallen angel, but we don't say fallen angels around here no more. We just say angels that made a different choice, or the angels who made a different choice. We don't, that got corrected by Source and the Most High about that when it comes to referring to them. When I asked him, how do you defer to these angels? I got corrected by him about that, about calling them fallen. Why are we fallen? That's the vision. Okay, well, what are you? We're just angels. Okay, that makes sense, right? Just like you see a human being out here. Would you call someone who's actually acting malevolent? Would you call him a fallen human being? Or would you just call him a human being? Why do we get to do that, but we don't extend the same courtesy to others? When I asked where that came from religion. Now, let me get back to Lilith. Lilith, her husband is Samael, Satan's right-hand man. He also is an angel, and a very, very powerful angelic. Dark angelic. Lilith was doing things like going around and taking people's children and killing them. She was not an eater of children. For those of you who said that and wrote books about that, she does not eat children, but she does kill children. Lilith had children of her own, and her karma was to lose all of her children, and she did lose her children. She has been malevolent ever since. That is who she is. That is what it is. Period, point blank. There are a lot of goddesses, a lot of people out here that like to work with Lilith, but it's not an energy that you play with. I wouldn't recommend anyone playing with that type of energy right there unless you know exactly what it is that you're doing. But in terms of her story, as far as the whole Adam and Eve thing, I am under the impression that's not quite entirely true.
Okay. Any 2023 predictions?
You don't have to wait until January 15th, baby.
Okay.
Come see me on my live on Isis Wisdom. I ain't giving out all the jewels away. Come see me on the 15th of January, and you're going to get all the 2020 predictions you want.
Okay. Let's get to the.
I will say this one thing. I give you a little piece of it. I give you a little piece. Just know that the exposure that's taking place amongst all these systems that's happening, just know that that's going to continue, and you're going to continue to see systems falling. You're going to continue to see systems falling. There's going to be a lot more celebrity deaths taking place. There's going to be a lot more things you're going to see playing out with a lot of high government things that's taking place. You're going to see that. Also, pay attention to these earthquakes. Pay attention to these earthquakes in these indigenous areas. I can't stress that enough. Pay attention to those earthquakes in the indigenous areas. Keep your head on a swivel. There is a lot of things out here that's been unleashed on this planet. A lot of people have demons and all types of things in their house, and they have no idea because they're not self-aware and they're not present like they should be. I can't tell you how many times people are coming to me, and my website is shopisiswisdom.com, but I can't tell you how many times people have come to me asking for help because of things that are going on with their life. And then when I look at them, their whole family got demon attachments. Lady telling me she walking down the street, I'm getting a vision that said that whole block ain't got nothing but demons. Portals that's been opened up. This is a very real thing that I think people need to start understanding. These are the days that we're in now. These are things I tried to warn people about back in 2020 to start getting their stuff together because they didn't have a whole lot of time. But now we're in that now. We're in that now. So, in the process of the malevolent forces doing what they're doing, you also have our stuff coming online and getting activated. And this is just humanity in general. It doesn't matter what color your skin you have. This is humanity in general that's coming online with their capabilities, period.
Right.
So just be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for people showing superpowers. You're seeing it on TikTok where you got individuals that are starting to levitate. You got individuals that are using telekinesis. You got individuals that are doing all types of things. You're going to continue to see more and more things like that taking place. It's going to increase. Okay, where a lot of people's abilities are coming online. It's going to continue.
All right, let's get to this next question. Any more details on the flare that will bring back our memories?
The solar flash, the great solar flash.
Right.
I cannot tell you when it's going to take place because I wasn't told that information. What I can tell you is it's judgment. Those are the people who are not operating on a particular frequency. By the time this thing hits, y'all going to the ancestral realm. You ask me, I'm telling you. Y'all going to the ancestral realm. Those of you who are matching the frequencies, your DNA is going to continue to keep activating where you'll be able to withstand that energy. At some point in time on this planet, it's going to get as hot as 1,000 degrees on this planet. After that happens. So I want you, but see, don't get caught up in this because you're going to, when that great solar flash happens, everybody transforms at the blink of an eye. Now, I want you guys to pay attention when you start seeing the sun blinking. Pay attention when you see Rob blinking, or Nemesis, I should say, blinking. They have videos out there where you're starting to see the sun blink. Okay? It's not the fake sun from China. That was a farce. Let me just say that. That was a straight up farce. That wasn't what you thought that was. But you got Atum in the skies, you got Nemesis in the skies, and you had the blue Katrina in the skies. Be weary when you see the red Katrina get into the skies. The end of the cycle has happened. We're coming into the great apocalypse now. Pay attention to everything that is revealed to you all. Start adjusting to the changes and the revealing that you see taking place. I don't want to see nobody out here wearing no damn Balenciaga.
Tell me about it.
Or Nike. Not Nike, Adidas. Yeah, Nike too, because of Kyrie Irving. Stand for something.
Indeed. For real, for real.
You got to take a
Balenciaga.
stand. You got to take a stand.
Yeah.
You got to stop. You got to stop supporting people that don't respect you. This is our time now. Things are reversing itself in a major way.
Indeed. Man. All right, let's get to one more question from the chat before we get out of here. Wow, what a show. You could write movies, Isis. The stuff you talk about, you could write.
Man, bro, let me tell you something. And sometimes I wonder if I should be talking about some of this stuff. But I think that right now, the time that we're in right now, this is the time to do it. There was a time 10 years ago, I would have never talked about things like this. But the times that we're in now with the great revealing, I feel very comfortable speaking about things like this because it's time now. Mm. And there's others out there like me that are starting to come out now. And they're starting to drop their signs and speak their truth about their experiences and the things that's going on with them. And I hope to see more people doing it because this is the age that we're going into now. We're going into the age of energetic healing. We're going into the age of quantum physics. We're going into the age of quantum healing. We're going into the age of quantum intelligence. We're moving in a whole different direction. This is when the subconscious mind begins to start coming to the front. Mm. And the conscious mind begins to start going to the back.
Switching position.
So the subconscious mind starts coming to the front. Can you imagine?
Wow. Whole different ball game out here.
It's a whole different ball game.
Wow. Let's I'm curious about this too, this last question. What is your opinion on the weird animal activity walking around in circles?
It's the things that's going on with the planet. Those are the signs. Mm-hmm. Those are the signs. Now, of course, you would have a scientist break it down. Well, this and this and this is what's going on. Okay, I'm not doing that with y'all. I'm just letting you know. You see the signs for what they are. Recognize those signs for what they are. When have you ever seen some shit like that happen before? On that level where you got a lot of animals that are doing this. Mm-hmm. You know what it reminded me of when I saw that? You know, over in Mecca, there's a cube that's there. We call it the cube of Saturn. And every year they do this thing where a bunch of people start walking around this cube. Have you seen that?
I heard about it.
It reminds me of that. When I saw that, it really reminded me of that. And I was looking at that and I was like, some portals were opened up. Some energetic portals were opened up. I think that people better get ready for the new ride. Haven't you noticed how different this place is? It ain't the same. Your consciousness ain't even the same. You don't even see things the same way no more. Would you say that things are different?
Oh, totally different. Yeah, totally different.